Hello everybody, Valentin Todorow from Earlier here. Today we're going to look at scroll handling. Scroll handling is a feature that's embedded, it comes as a function within PTF. It allows you to deal with scroll and grid regions within PeopleSoft. Okay, I will show you, of course, how it is set up and how it's used within the PTF tool, but I also want to direct you to where it is within the online help, i.e. People Books. If you go into the People Tools People book, go into the life products, life cycle management, and then test framework here at the bottom, you'll see, of course, the entire People book that relates to the PeopleSoft Test Framework. And within developing and debugging tests, you will see a section for incorporating scroll handling. Okay. This section actually goes through the entire process here. This is the actual example I'll record as well, which is a grid like this. And it explains the reasoning for why we use scroll handling within our tests. Okay, it's a dynamic way to make sure that whenever we are interacting with a grid region or a scroll region, which I can also show, if something were to move up or down on the list dynamically, maybe it gets resorted or a value gets inserted above what you initially record, the system can automatically scroll through all the pages and lines, find the specific value that you're testing or interacting with, grab its location within that list, and then do something on that specific list. Okay. So this section is really good if you want to read up on it. Again, incorporating scroll handling, it goes through creating the dynamic positioning index, how to actually set up a scroll key, the action, and how to leverage it within a test. And then I've got some really good examples and screenshots in here. But let's jump over to PTF, and I'll show you how this is actually set up. Okay, so here we are within PTF, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a new test. And again, to create a new test, select my folder, right-click, and go create a test. Okay, once you've opened up a test, just click on the save, and let's call this PTF scroll handling example. Okay. Once it's saved, kind of the high-level definition is saved. What we're going to do is we're going to click on the record button here at the top. Okay. If you have not selected a runtime option, go ahead and click runtime options, select it, accept. So we're going to click the record button at the top, which will initialize our Chrome extension. Okay. And of course, from previous videos, as you know, this is just the floating window. We want to also, of course, launch our browser, which is going to launch the PIA. We're going to click record, so it starts capturing, and I will quickly record, putting in the user and password here, navigating to, and I'll use the same example as the People book, which was within the profile user security, so that there's a one-to-one from the documentation to this video, just to help you guys out. So we'll just quickly navigate to People Tools, Security, User Profiles, User Profile. Okay. PTF, of course, is recording at the bottom on that floating little window. You can see that it's capturing. I'll just bring up that same VP1 user, and we'll go to the roles tab. So this is the screenshot, even though the screenshot's from a classic page. This is, of course, the Fluid Classic Plus. So, okay, so this is a grid in PeopleSoft. Okay, and if we actually inspect the page, and this is one important piece, if we inspect the page and we look at the DOM object here, you'll notice that the field name has a $0. Okay, that denotes that it's the first row at the top. The second one is $1, and if you continue on the next page, okay, and we start from the first element again, you'll see it's $0 at the end of the field name. So as you go from page to page, the absolute location of the DOM object actually gets recycled. Okay, and really the reason for scroll handling gives, and again, kind of the picture I paint, that if somebody does insert something higher up after you've recorded the test, then if you're dealing with, say, employee, that gets pushed down a row. So you don't want to record something statically and have a static $0, $5 designation to that row. You want to make it dynamic. So in the playback of the script, when you do run the test, it parses this list, finds the value, and does something to it. Okay. And we'll actually can see this if we stop the recording okay? Because you can press the stop on the record on the little wizard, and we can see that we've interacted with fields that have $ designations on them. You see these $ designations? That denotes that you did something to a $4, $3 field, okay? So how scroll handling works during the recording process, and I'm going to just delete the lines because, again, PTF records as you are navigating through the page and interacting with the page. I deleted those and left it so that the last piece I have is going to the rows tab or page, okay? And I'll continue recording from that point on because I want to use the proper method to record doing something to one of these rows, right? So again, I'm going to go back to my window here, and because I pressed stop, it actually disconnects the browser from the driver and the PTF tool itself, okay? And what you want to do is rehook the tool itself, PTF tool, and the WebDriver to the browser. So if you click on this little home window, this time, because there is a session open, and PTF knows that, and the driver knows that, you can actually rehook to the existing page, kind of re-establish the connection to capture stuff off the page. Okay, now it's hooked back on, and now I can actually continue recording, okay? I'm already on the page. Obviously, that was kind of the prerequisite, but now what I want to do is let's manually do something on the page, okay? So maybe as part of my test script, and what I'm trying to record is go to the employee role within this user profile and click on the view definition, okay? And to do this using scroll handling, what you want to do is over a field that is unique, right? You don't want to actually do these because they're the same values over and over. Say employee or employee description, we're going to choose employee. You can right click. And as in previous videos I showed you, there's additional capabilities from the extension that you actually, it's a PTF extension that you dropped within the browser. You want to go to the PTF recorder after you've right-clicked on the field, and it can be any field, but for these examples, it's going to be the scroll field. You want to go to add a step, and you want to do set scroll key, okay? Scroll handling is a two-part process. First, you define the scroll key, kind of what I'm looking for, and the second step is the action. What am I going to do with what I found? So I'm going to select set scroll key, and what this is going to bring up is this little prompt, okay? And this prompt is going to have several things filled out for us. I'm looking at this recognition, i.e. this column. I'm looking for a text field. I'm looking for the value of employee. But there's an additional field here that you can fill out. You can fill it out now, or you can fill it out afterwards on the test. But I'm going to fill it out now. And this, you define a number. It's almost like a key that's user defined by the recorder. It can be 1 through 1,000. I'm going to use the number 8, and I'm going to save it, okay? And what that's done is it's recorded a step for us that we're looking for a value in this grid for employee, for example, okay? And the second step is now I actually want to do something with that, okay? You can assign the action afterwards, or you can assign the action now, okay? And I'm actually going to do it now. So the same thing, I'm going to right-click on the field, go to the PTF recorder, do the insert a step, and I'm going to do a scroll action, okay? Scroll action is just another prompt, and here you have to fill out a few things. So what's a scroll ID? Well, I know the scroll ID from the previous step is 8, and I'm going to tie these two together, so I'm going to do 8 as well. Because you can have multiple levels of scrolls and multiple scrolls and grids within a page. You want to distinguish between one scroll event and action and then another. So you want to give them these IDs, and that's kind of the purpose of the IDs. A return variable, this is going to hold the relative location, the $6, $8, $7, or $0, but you want to capture it within a variable. So I'm going to say ampersand location. Location, okay? And the ampersand is obviously the declaration that this is a variable, just like in people code. Action, there's various actions you can take kind of out of the box. You can insert a record if it doesn't exist, or update it, or delete it. So they're kind of like predefined functions within this function itself. But what I'm going to use is this SEL for select. I want to select the location of this row into the variable called ampersand location, okay? Expected, you can just keep this as ignore, okay? And I'm going to save, right? Now, what has this done to our test? And we can kind of go back to the recorder panel floating window. You can see that it's recorded 2 steps, and I'm going to actually press the stop button at this time, okay? Because the stop button is what gives us the fields here on their test. And you can see now, after the roles tab, because that's what I had left over, I recorded the key set, which is this key set, for the entire column called row name. I'm looking for a text value of employee, okay? And what happens now, and this is the kind of the first time we've seen the scroll ID field being used or column being used, is that those two numbers, 8 and 8, now this ties row 16 and sequence 16 and 17 together to act as one entity, okay? The first one finds something, and the second one does an action. That's why we selected scroll action. Retain that location into the variable location and select this location into here, okay? So now when I play this back, the function PTF scroll key is going to find employee no matter where it is on that list and how many pages, and it can actually scroll the pages automatically, find employee, and grab its location from that list, okay? And then, of course, we want to actually record doing something on that page, okay? So I'm going to actually rehook my browser and do something on that page. So again, right-click, rehook the browser. We want to record again. And you can physically click on here and change the value afterwards. Actually, I'm going to do that. I'm going to click on View Definition. Yeah, I want to discard the changes because I did do some changes there. Okay, and you see it grabbed the link. But if it pushes it back to the PTF test, you'll see that because I didn't apply my variable, it's got a $6 designation at the tail end of it, okay? That means I clicked on the 7th row in that list. But I don't want to have it be static like that, right? That's the whole point of the scroll handling is we don't want static designations to our data because, again, somebody could resort this list. Somebody could insert something alphabetically higher up above E that pushes everything down. So when you rerun the test, employee is no longer in that location, okay? And what we want to do is after we deleted that $6, we want to actually grab and push the variable right here after the definition, okay? Let me play this back for you so you can see this thing in action. Let me just manipulate a few things in this test so that it works a little bit faster than it did. Okay, and I cover some of these actions I'm taking in other videos. All right, I just want to get it to work a little bit faster. So I'm doing this. And we'll cover page prompting in another video. Okay. Okay, so let's play a test. And we're really focusing on this section right here. So I'm going to save my test. If you see that you can't play back, it's because you have your recorder still open. So you want to make sure you close this little recorder. All right. And as soon as you've closed it, the test is saved. We're going to click on the play button and it will perform these steps for us. And you'll see when it gets to the grid, how it finds employee through the list, even if it's several pages within that scroll, it's going to find it and click on the proper view definition that's on that row, okay? So again, this is the playback mode now of PTF. It's playing back. Okay, it's going to jump to the page automatically because I gave it that page prompt, which again is in another video. We're going to open up that user. We're going to go to the roles tab. And here, actually, employee was a couple of tabs over. I didn't record me clicking that little arrow, right? It automatically does that. It's part of the kind of function that's built in to the PTF tool. It's going to find employee on this list. And it clicked on view definition. And now we're in the role called employee. And then it's going to take us back to the log as part of its process. And when we read the log, you'll see that scroll handling was initialized. It looked for employee. It wasn't on the first page. It wasn't on the second page. And there it is. It found it in the $6 location. And it clicked on that specific row's view definition of $6. Okay. And you can see because it grabbed the variable from the find here, it used it to click on. So no matter what you pass into here, so let's say we pass another role. Let's find another one to pass. Again, this is me now just cycling through. Let's go all the way in there. Let's do IT Asset Manager. Okay. Instead of employee, you can just change the value we're looking for because the field name is still the same, right? We're still parsing that field list. It's a text field. And then let's save our test and play it back. Save, play. It will find it and click on that specific row's view definition, okay? So this applies to scroll regions. It could apply to the routes. You could do that for the minus and plus button. You can insert, you could delete rows that are found within a scroll. It also applies to grid regions, right? I'm sorry, to scroll regions where you could have another scroll and then another grid layered between the layers, and you can find an effective date first, find a sequence, and then find maybe an effective phone number that's within that levels. So you can start cascading these in a hierarchy and using scroll handling. So it's a really good feature. It's kind of part of PeopleSoft. So you want to leverage the tools that they've built to help you to build these tests more efficiently and make these tests kind of have some intelligence baked into them. Okay. So here again, within the test, there is nothing that says click on this little arrow. Okay. It's part of the function itself. And if you have customized these functions, there is actually a scroll definition where you can actually define what you've customized those buttons to so that the function can consume those and then use them when it goes and plays back. Okay, so there it is. It found asset manager, and again, it clicked it. Okay, and you can see in the log that it found it in the $2 location. And of course, it clicked on the view definition $2. Okay, so scroll handling using the scroll ID field. We did it on recorder. And of course, if you know the field name, you could do this manually on the script and select scroll action, scroll key set, and define those in the test. So hopefully this video is informative, and we'll catch you guys next time. Thank you so much.